so you can hear them. Watch. Alright, today we're going to go through the room and just take a look at all the tanks. Something I haven't done in a while. I got a lot of cool stuff I want to show you. So let's get going. Okay, so the first tank is my Angelfish breeding project. These are about 5 generations in from wild red shoulder Monicapuru. I had about 1,000 of the babies and I could not sell them, so I gave them away. So what I decided to do was pull these, and they started throwing albinos towards the end. So the female there is an albino, and then the male is what's coming out of the original, and you can kind of see the green and red I'm trying to breed in. It's probably going to take about another year, but I'll show you some other stuff we got from other parents where I crossed one of these out with another fish that I like. Oh, you can see they're actually laying eggs up in that corner. Let's see if I can see that. Yeah. So I just noticed that. So they're laying eggs, but I have fry from these guys already. And then you also see some turquoise rainbows. I really enjoy rainbows. Now, it's not profitable, but I just keep them because I enjoy them. Pretty easy to breed. You can make money, but you have to go to a pretty large scale to make money. So yeah, they have about 150 eggs up in that corner. So they probably won't make it. The rainbow fish will probably eat those eggs, but also inside that cave down here is a 494. Now I'll show you, and then the reason why it's a male 494 is I have 3 males and 1 female, and the other 2 males just kept kicking the crap out of this guy. So he's kind of in this tank as recovery. He's doing really well. But I also have about 25 babies from the 494s, which are pretty rare. And pretty excited to breed them. First tank, Angelfish project. I would love to get that male there with a lot more red on top, and then bring that green down and just get rid of the bars totally. What I have found with the Angelfish is the bars don't sell. Now I love the bars, but your average fish keeper wants, you know, a really pretty Angelfish. So that's what we're doing with these guys. And I would say at least another year, and I should come up with my own strain, hopefully. Okay, so these are an offspring of the Angelfish I just showed you, crossed with another Angelfish I found that had a little leopard pattern on its dorsal. And what I really want to do with these Angelfish is to get their finnage perfect. So I'm looking for no twisted fins, so nice straight ventrals, pectorials, and all that. So I want everything nice and straight on these guys. So I'll actually sell off probably 95% of these and keep 3 or 4 for future breeding products. But they do love the grow and spawn flake food. So you can hear them. Watch. So they have basically been grown on this food. Because Angelfish aren't as finicky as Discus, they do get baby brine shrimp, what's left over every night and every morning. So they basically eat this and the Daily Delight. It doesn't take long for them to go through this food. They go through it pretty quick. But I'll give you a better shot from the front. So a really pretty Angelfish. It has all the characteristics I'm looking for. And really, I haven't culled one of these yet. There's probably a good 100 inside this tank, and the genetics are really solid, mostly because they came from wild fish. But even then, sometimes you get, you know, fish that don't look good as far as their finnage. So that's one thing with the Angelfish. If you ever want to breed Angelfish, what we look for is we want that finnage to be perfect. We want to see the nice straight fins, no curves, no missing. It's pretty common, so that's what's nice about coming back to the wilds, is you're going to get a better result as far as what you breed. Pretty cool. Like I said, 95 of these will go to the fish store, and I'll probably keep 4 or 5 maybe, and then break those down to like 2 or 3. Okay, so these are fish that I am growing out as breeders. And the reason why I'm using these are the red spot green and a galaxy turquoise. The red spot green is pretty close to a wild pattern, and I want to get that color into my wilds. But these guys are looking good, and actually, I mean, I can't tell 100% male, female, but they sure act like a male and female. They are still young, so they probably wouldn't breed for another 6 months. But they're growing out well, and they're growing out on my, so I'm going to show you real quick. So I've been using this feeder system, and this drops food 4 times a day. Now, I have the food done. It's ready to go. And actually, I am going to be putting it on my website soon, but I am bringing in the final feeder. So the feeder I'm bringing in, I want to make sure it's, you know, really durable and it works correctly. So it'll probably be about another month until this system is out. Now this is designed to grow fish when we're not home. One thing, you know, we all work, and if you have young fish, they need to eat about 4 or 5 times a day. So I have a system where I actually have a gauge for the opening, and the food fits the opening perfect, so there's less chance of overfeeding a tank when you're not around. Now you still have to fine tune it. So hopefully by the first of the year we'll have this system out and available. These guys are looking good. They're healthy. They've been through a levamisole treatment and a metronidazole treatment. Prazi will wait another month or 2 because they're just going to hang out in this 20, and they might hang out there, and they might even pair up and breed. I'm pretty sure the red spot green is a female, and the Galaxy turquoise is a male. So it'd be a good breeding pair. So their patterns are pretty close where it would be acceptable to breed these two and probably come up with a nice offspring. All right. And yes, their tank's dirty because they've been getting fed, right? They're fed constantly. They get water changed every night. Okay, just so you know, I'm going through each tank from the door around, and I'm going around and just tank by tank. I'm not picking tanks, I'm just kind of going to the next tank. So these guys are my A's. I will pick a couple breeders out here. These are the 3rd generation turquoise Heckle, and they're starting to show their color a little. They're a little over 4 months old, and they're a great size. They look great. They are starting to get color on their fins, but I noticed that I probably have 3 or 4 that I'd use for breeders, and the rest will go. Now, what's nice about them all being from the same parents and born at the same time, we can kind of tell males and females. Now, that's not a perfect scenario because I've got females that have been huge and I've got males that have been small. But as far as an average, usually the males are bigger than the females, especially in their own spawn. Not 100%, but it kind of gives you a good starting point. And the reason why they're not looking colored up in this tank is because there's no background, it's a white bottom, and you know, there's just nothing for them to really bounce off of. They're kind of in the middle of the lake here with the see-through windows and everything. But they've been in my room since the day they've been born. And you can see this guy over here. He is right here in the back. He's really starting to get that striped color and everything. But if you look real close, it all got that stripe coming in. So, you know, we'll let them ride another month or 2 and then pick out our breeders out of this bunch. But excited about these guys. Great strain, great size, healthy, durable. So these are my 3rd generation wild Heckle domestic turquoise cross. All right. Okay, so these are the brothers and sisters of the tanks we just saw. These are considered the B's, mostly because of size, but they do have some small defects on their finnage. That's not a defect as far as selling, but it is a defect as far as breeding. So these guys are a little bit smaller. They don't quite get the attention of my breeders, but they're growing fine. Eye size to body ratio is perfect. They're okay. But if you look real close, sometimes you can see a little nip in their fin, and that's just called, you know, that's a genetic breakdown. Now, I would never use these as breeders, but to sell them in the store is fine, as long as I disclose what they are, right? If I bring in my A's to somebody, I expect a lot more money than I do for my B's. But I let them know when they're paying for B's what they're getting. They're getting what is not breedable in my fish room. So I want to make that very clear. Now the C's have been culled, and usually what happens with the C's is they're either missing a total fin, so a fin's gone, or they're not growing right, or they have a flared gill plate, or even swim bladder, where they're missing the swim bladder, or it's deflated. Those fish will eventually die, and they die a slow and painful death. It's hard because you don't want to have to cull fish, but doing this for so long, I know that if I do not cull those fish, they're going to have a miserable life for one, and they're going to have a slow death. Oh, this guy right here, you see that chip in his fin? He's borderline. He's got 2 chips. So great size, great eye to body ratio, great finnage, everything else. His gills look good. Everything looks good except for those small defects in this. Unfortunately, that fish has to be culled. Okay? So I just want to make that very clear. That's what's hard about breeding fish, is you got to make these decisions. And he was on the borderline, and the reason why I kept him is because of his great shape, his body size, his eye size, everything else was great except for those 2 little fins. Now, they might grow in a little bit, but they'll always be missing a slight V in that finnage. So he's the only one I think I see, and I think the reason why I kept him is just because of everything I just said. So, you know, and it could be where that's something where if he's just a healthy fish, he might just go in a tank and hang out somewhere. But most stores would take that for $5. All right, but that's borderline even. And if they didn't want that, and I explained to them they didn't want it, I would understand. Okay, so these are L494s. Super cool pleco. I love them, and they have this like spiny back on them. These have been in my fish room about 2 months, and they have spawned for me. So I bought them as older, and they were a little more expensive that way. But I fell in love with them just because of the characteristics. Now what's cool is the babies have heavy stripage, so the babies are going to be very sellable. And I think the babies are going for like 50, 60 bucks right now, and I've seen the parents go for up to 100 to 150. So the thing with the plecos is I use those as something I enjoy. Now when they breed, it's awesome, but sometimes you can go years without them breeding. So it's not something you want to do to make money. And so you can see the spikes coming off that guy right there, his tail's coming out. Yeah, really super cool pleco, really cool. They're not something you buy to make money unless you have a full fish room of them and you have multiple tanks, because sometimes they breed twice a year. Sometimes it takes 5 to 6 to 7 years for them to breed, right? So you got to really understand that. I do it like with the rainbow fish, because these are something I really super enjoy. So for me, it keeps me in the hobby, and it's more of something I keep just because I want to. I have 25 babies of these at $50 a piece. You know, that can add up real quick. But if I'm going to my fish store, I'd probably sell them for $20, $25, you know, to them. Still make a good amount of money, so it's worth it long term. But to be a pleco breeder, especially with the L numbers, you would have to have probably 100 tanks to make money and really stay on top of those tanks. Poppy next door on the same tank, and that's why I have them in the same tank with this little partition right here, because I know this tank's just going to sit. Now these are my L134s. Had them for about 3 years now, 2 years, about 2 years, a little over 2 years. They have spawned for me once. I had 12 babies. So I was thinking I would just improve my quality. A guy came in and they were less than an inch long. He said, "Do you want to sell them?" I said, "No, not really." He said, "I'll give you 600 bucks right now for them." I said, "Sold." So I sold them. Looking back, I should have kept them, but 600 bucks at the time was I wanted to get into the discus breeding and stuff, and I knew that was I could get, you know, some really good pairs or get some young fish to pair up for that money. So my goal was to make money with the discus, and these were able to fund that. So they have shown trapping a few times, but they're very seasonal. That's what I'm finding with the leopard frog pleco. I think it's just going to take time, you know, and I really enjoy them. They're beautiful. Now, here's the thing. I have 9 of them in there, right? I think I have 8 males and 1 females, and that's very common for these plecos. For some reason, the males get let out and the females get held back, and we all know why that's done. But I have a guaranteed spawn. I haven't lost any adults, so I know I have at least 1 female in there. So again, I'm just gonna let it ride. I don't see them much. They come out, if you come in at night and flash a flashlight, they're all over the tank, but in the daytime, this is what they do. They just kind of hang out in their caves. And there's some beefy ones in there. So I could have 2 females, but I'm guessing, I definitely know I have 1. So the L134, one of my favorites, but just time and relax, and don't try to make money doing these things. If you spawn them, great, but my suggestion is if you do spawn them your first time, hang on to the fry, because it just expands your colony. Alright, in this little 10-gallon here on my table, I have the L494 babies. You can see them in the back there. I have the Angelfish fry from the parents that were spawning in the first part of the video. And you can see, if you look really close, you can see a lot of, it's about 50-50 albino to the, and I'm calling them red shoulder green. So that's what my goal is, to get those bars out. The last bar, there's 1 bar in the back, and bring that green down in the body and keep that red on top. And so I'll pick for that. But the L494s, you can see their stripage when they're young. They're pretty cool. So I really like that fish. And I didn't buy that fish because I thought it was beautiful. I just thought it was very unique. And that's the reason why I purchased it. And I got a good deal on it. So, but also in this tank are a small spawn of Discus. Now they are the Heckle crossed with my turquoise Heckle. So an Asian Heckle to my turquoise Heckle. But the problem is the parents have spawned about 4 or 5 times, and I'll show you them later in the video. They've spawned 4 or 5 times and just can't get it right. So they're on fry right now. They have about 25 to 30 fry, which is very small, and it's hard to raise small spawns of Discus. They need to be in numbers, because what happens is you start getting defects, or you start getting a couple that just don't look right. Next thing, those numbers go down real quick. So I think there's like 7 or 8 Discus back there, and they're actually looking decent, but you know, I really won't know for another couple weeks, probably another month, until it's something, because the spawn was so small, my odds of getting 1 great Discus is probably good. My odds of getting them all really good is very, very minuscule. It probably won't happen. There'll probably be a defect or something. Sorry, my camera overheated, but I'm back, and we're going to try to just get this part done and let this thing cool down. But yeah, talking about the Discus, so you know, it is what it is. At least I can get a good idea of what they're throwing and if it's worth keeping them together. But you know, they're both really 2 nice fish, and I'll show you those fish coming up. All right, I'm gonna let this thing cool down and keep going. Okay, so in this tank I have my blue is the turquoise Heckle cross. The big brown stripe there is a Ika F1. I have 3 of my Kupwa Royals, and then I have a wild Kupwa with the red, and then I have a wild Royal that looks like a football. Okay, so I got that. I paid a lot of money for that fish. I'm not happy with it. I will not breed that fish. It will go to the fish store and I will lose money on it, but that's okay, because that's just part of the game. Sometimes people send you stuff and you think it's one thing. Now, I got 2 of them. The other one is breeding with one of my turquoise Heckles, and it's pretty amazing. So it was, you know, win-lose, but it all came out in the wash and it looks great. So these guys are all future breeders. Now, you're asking, why would I put that blue in with these browns? Because I'd love to get some more of that turquoise into these Kupwa. If he can pair up with one of them, great. If not, you know, I probably wouldn't cross him out with the Ika, but because he has wild genes in him, I would probably try that and see how it goes. Might go well, might go terrible. So these guys right here, I'm really enjoying the Kupwas and the Royals. And if you remember a few videos back, I had the catastrophe where I had a cross-contamination. I put them together, and these were what made it. My 3 biggest ones did not make it. So this is what's left, but they all have great shape and color as far as the Royal part. Pretty happy. Could have been better, but you know what? Sometimes we just take what we can get. So these guys are all future breeders now. Probably 2 of them are ready, are adults. The rest are all sub-adults. So it's probably another few months. I would say first of the year where we might get some breeding going on. But you can see this guy here in the back. Look at that shape. I mean, I understand it's wild, but you gotta tell me that you're sending me a football, right? I need to know that because I specifically said that these are for breeders. I can't breed that fish. Would I get something out of it that I could probably salvage? Yeah, but what's the point? Why would I want to breed that fish? Okay, so shape is very important. His eye size is a little big. I mean, he's considered wild, and I'm even questioning the wild part. So that's not a winner. That one will go to the fish store. So here's the turquoise heckle with the heckle Asian. And they are on about 30, 35 fry right now. Now they tend to hide on that black part of the female, but you can see her twitching a little bit. And they literally went on the parents last night. I'm not going to disturb them. I'm not going to put my camera up against them to see the fry. Maybe I can get some B-roll and kind of show you the fry. But this is for you guys that send me texts and on stuff on my website about my discus are breeding and they're not keeping the fry. Well, sometimes you get lucky and it works, and sometimes it just takes, I've had up to 10 tries where they actually got it. Now, I'm pretty sure they're going to get this one. Oh, you can see she's turning right now, so you can see him on her side. But still not a very big spawn. So we'll see how it goes. I would love to get some fish out of these two because I think we could get a pretty amazing fish. Because the mother with the black stripe, she actually came from a wild heckle, a blue face heckle, and it was a big fish. So all these fish you've seen before me are all from the parents. And then this is the dad of the fish you see in the tanks. Now I have a ton of these fish, so I can't keep breeding them because I can't have 100 of these fish. But dad is the heckle turquoise with a wild royal. And that's what it was sold to me as, and I've done a little research, and there is such a fish, but to me that looks like that has some domestic in it, but I'm going to go with what I'm told because I trust the breeder that sent it to me. Alright, so these are my 2 major breeders right now. Had some setbacks in the fish room, but everything is looking positive. I literally have about 100 to 120 discus in the room now from about 10, so pretty happy where I'm at, but we're only going to go up from here. So these guys have spawned once, and the eggs fungused. The problem with, these weren't bonded. I put these 2 together because I would love to get some offspring from these 2. So it's going to take a while for them to figure it out. Now I know the male is proven, and that is a male on the right, on the right, so my right. And then the female laid eggs. So I know it's a male female 100%, but we'll just see how it goes. First time didn't get it right, that's okay. Give me a couple more tries. You don't get it right, I'm fine with that. So we'll just make sure it's going to work long term. She's actually dropped her tube again, so she'll probably be spawning the next day or so. Alright guys, that's it. I just want to thank you guys for watching, and behind me are rainbows, the Lake Antusia bosunai, and then the precox. So those are 2 tanks I didn't show. And so I want to make you aware of the special going on the website. The Spawn and Grow Worm Flake. This is my big bottle. But this stuff right now, you get $2 off. And if you add in everything underneath it, you'll get $10 off right now. You'll get the pellets. You'll get the wafers. What else? Oh, the Koala Green freeze-dried, and also the Daily Delight freeze-dried. So if you put all those in, you get $2 off each, so you get $10 off. And then you can also get the free water conditioner with that because you'll be over that $30 mark. But also what I've done is I've actually set up an affiliate program on Amazon. One thing that people are asking me is my stuff I use as far as my equipment, my RO unit. So I put the RO unit on my website. Now it's an affiliate link, so you just click on that. I make a few bucks. and then you'll get, I think it's 20% off that RO unit. So you can go look at that if you're interested. So go to the Grow and Spawn Worm Flake, click on that, that automatically goes in your cart, and then if you want to add in the rest of the stuff, you can add that in, and then click on the water conditioner, the Amazon Gold and the Aqua Guard, and you'll get that free.